This is your captain speaking. We are making our descent into Las Vegas McCarran Airport. On behalf of our crew, we'd like to thank you for flying MMAjunkie Airlines. Now please fasten your seatbelts and put your tray tables in your upright position because the descent is gonna be a little bit bumpy.
Alright, Junkie Nation, it's time to roll, baby, on MMAjunkie Radio with gorgeous George and Goze. This is what we doing while we do it, baby. All night long, we rollin'! Yeah!
The MMAjunkie Radio revolution is upon us. With the use of MMAjunkie Radio and SiriusXM satellite radio technology, MMAjunkie Radio, commence transmission. Live from MMAjunkie Radio HQ in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Here are your hosts, Gorgeous George and Goze.
From the fight capital of the world, inside the beautiful Mandalay Bay Racing Sportsbook, you are listening to the MMAjunkie Radio Show. I'm your host, Gorgeous George. With me, as always, is the devious and dastardly Goze, our ace co-host back east, handling all the producing duties today. It's going to be Danny, as always. Sitting to my right, our special co-host for the day, legendary boxing and MMA cutman and current co-author of Part 2, From the Fields to the Garden. It's Stitch Duran. What's up, Stitch? Welcome back.
Hey, thanks for having me here, man. It's one of these powerful days, right, when we talk about going to Langley Air Force Base and visiting the troops, and we have Zach Robinson coming in later on today. It's his birthday, so and then you guys are helping us get the word out on the book, man. So it's one of these power days.
Yeah, well, congratulations. Part 2, it's out there.
Yeah,
I remember we were bugging you for years. In 2010, you dropped Part 1, still available on Amazon, so there's no reason why you should only get Part 2 and say you'll catch up on Part 1 later. Get them both at the same time because they're both great books.
Yeah, they are, and it took time, and fans kept asking, and it just wasn't the right time, but it's time now.
It's
time. So the book is out.
Nice. Now, did I read this right? I went to StitchDuran.com. Pre-order for $2.99?
Yeah, that was Zach set that up, and it's we're not
Santa
here
Claus
really
over here, huh?
Yeah, we're not here really to make the money. I mean, it's nice to get out there, but it's more just to get the stories out, to the fans, and I think that's it's a great opportunity for them. But it was a pre-order. Now I think on Kindle it's like $4.99. So.
Okay. Well.
Oh, he was cooler a little while ago, wasn't he? I would pay. I'll be honest with you, completely honest. I would pay $20-$30 for a book like that.
Yeah.
Because the first one was so much fun, and if you're a fan of not just mixed martial arts but combat sports in general, there's a lot of history that gets discussed in it, and it's fun, man. It really is a good read.
I'm all about, the other day, about a few weeks ago, Goze threw something out. He said, can you imagine if Jose Aldo had beaten Conor McGregor? The trajectory of the featherweight division, the lightweight division, and other people's careers, the way they were affected because Conor's such a beast in the sport, right? And so I'm a fan of, when I read biographies, those certain moments where your life could have taken a turn, and I brought this up before, but we always have new listeners. You and your buddy that had agreed to join the military together, you decided to go. He had second thoughts. If you had been that guy and he had been you, that doesn't mean he would have turned into a boxing and MMA cutman, but still, your lives, your careers could have went in whole different directions. So I like reading those points of the books just to see, or maybe that handshake, you decided to stay back and hit some pads, and because of that, you met someone.
I guess the proudest thing of everything I've accomplished is I've never asked for one job. They just kind of had come to me. Go to Langley Air Force Base. I got from you guys. Maybe we'll include this in the book also.
Nice. Well, I think there's got to be. And that's the thing. The way you tell the story, you basically tell it and catch people up to present. But, of course, your life doesn't stop. Your career doesn't stop. And I'm sure there's many more wonderful moments in combat sports that you'll be a part of. So I really do hope there's a 3, maybe a 4. I don't know. However many times you want to keep writing them, we'll keep reading them.
Well, I appreciate it. Thanks.
But there's certain chapters that I read in the first book, and
and I'm sure for you guys also, because it kind of changed our lives as to how these troops and these military people are out there, protecting us. But to be in the trenches one-on-one and to see what these guys are actually going through, and to have guys like Jim and Pat that was here the other day to have 7 tours, to me that was pretty astonishing. And throughout the whole book, I'll let you guys know, is that Zach and I co-wrote every chapter except for that one in Afghanistan, that one. And thanks to you for your blogs, and thanks to you, Goze, for giving me the inputs and reminding me on some of the things, because we had so many things that we did. But that one there, I did it with my heart and soul.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I could probably write a book on it. Anything's possible. There was a lot. It was a 12-day trip. A lot happened. We shared a lot of great moments, a lot of fun moments, a lot of interesting moments. We learned a lot.
That's an outstanding quality that Zach Robinson has, and I'm glad that we hooked up.
Mm-hmm. Well, definitely we'll be at the Joint Base Langley Eustis on Thursday and Friday. So that's why we've been telling you Monday through Wednesday are the 3 shows that we'll be producing this week, and then on Thursday and Friday we'll be off, and we'll be heading back east to Virginia.
It's going to be a good time, right?
It sure is.
They asked us this morning if we're fired up, and I've been fired up for the last 2 weeks.
Goze is a planner. I think he's already packed and ready to go. Your strategy
My suitcase
was
is on the floor. It's packed and ready to go.
Your strategy was today you're chilling and just getting in mode, right?
It didn't really work out that way. So yesterday was going to be a beast of a day, and I tried to do everything so that today I could just sleep, because I got a feeling when you go down there, you have so many emotions that it's kind of like how fighters say, where they have that adrenaline dump at some point and you just start to get tired. And I don't want to be that guy yawning. I don't want to be that guy with red eyes. So I'm going to sleep all day today, and hopefully that'll work all the way till Saturday.
It's a sign of a rookie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. Before I get called a rookie, this is the same guy. You want to tell a story of, okay, what do you do when you're tired, when you're on 3-hour sleep?
I brushed my teeth with cortisone. Yeah, it's funny because I was at the Bellator fights, and
it does look like Colgate.
Yeah. I have Colgate as toothpaste, and I forgot that I put my little tube of cortisone in my sundry bag, and I take a shower late at night to go to bed, and the water there, it's a soft water, so everybody's talking about how it feels slimy and all that. So I'm thinking that it's the water that's not making my breath fresh, Well, that was one mistake, but then I got up 3 hours later to had an early lobby call, and I did it again.
Two times.
2 times.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Did you see the tweets from the fighters? They're saying, man, this blood keeps coming down, but my cut still smells very fresh.
Yeah, really. Yeah, that was a funny story you shared the other day.
Yeah, it was crazy,
But
it looks exactly alike.
It does, and it does.
I do remember that after all that travel we did to Afghanistan, it was 3.5 to Chicago, 11 to Turkey, and then 5.5 to Kyrgyzstan. And then when we were there, I remember we had just enough time to grab a quick bite to eat and some sleep, and then we reported, I think it was for the first seminar, first stuff that we were going to do, maybe the first briefing, right?
The first thing we did when we landed at
but I just remember it was a quick 2-3 hour turnaround.
Stuck dogs on us.
Right. It was a 2-3.
And then we went to the mall.
Right, but do you remember George Wallace? Great comedian. I couldn't hang, man.
Yeah.
I couldn't hang because it was so much travel. And we went to a mall in Kyrgyzstan, in Bishkek. We went to the attack dogs. We went to fit ourselves for the armor. So many things. We met the colonel on base. That by the time George Wallace came around, that's one time where I had to check out.
You
man.
tapped out, man.
Yeah, I was
great
watching.
too.
My back was hurting. I think we were just standing. My back was hurting, and I was laughing along. But then after a while, I was like, I think I've caught his act before. I'm gonna check out a little bit. Did you stick around, or did you check out?
Yeah, no, I stuck around. But talking to James today, I guess they have us on double duty also, man. So
I'm ready.
But I'm ready. That's the thing about it, is it gives us that energy, and just go meet so many different soldiers, and now this one will be airmen, and it's great going to Langley because I was in the Air Force. The other times that I've traveled, I've always gone to Army installations. So it's nice to go back to my family, and but yeah, I'm ready, man. If it's a 24-hour call, we're on it.
Well, luckily this is only a 5-hour trip to Virginia.
Yeah.
The other one was brutal.
It was tough.
Are you still the same guy? When we left for Afghanistan, you kind of pulled our mom aside. He said, hey, don't worry about it. I'm watching over all these guys. And everything we did in Afghanistan, he did first. He said, I'm the oldest. I got to do this first. Are you going to do that same thing on this trip? Because I think we're going to get into some stuff over there too.
Yeah, I'm game.
No matter what it is?
I'll take the first shot, man.
All right.
And then I'll let you guys know.
Wow. What if the first one's like how to submerge yourself in ice and do a rescue or something?
Hey,
Ice water.
man, I tell you what, the way I look at life is if it's been done and people have lived, I'm in.
You're in.
But that's what makes
it becomes more here than physical.
Yeah, well, that's
what I mean?
That's the point, and the thing about it is to say, you've accomplished that, you've crossed that barrier, and I think they were talking about going into a tear gas tank or something like that. And,
that was one thing that got thrown around.
Yeah.
Well, I do that every day when I have to follow him after he goes in the restroom. So I got a little bit of experience there. All right, 866-522-2846. Get in the queue. We would love to talk to you, talk about this great sport of ours, mixed martial arts. Tough 24 finale happened last weekend. Titan FC 42. Bellator had back-to-back shows, 166, 167. Eduardo Dantas held on to his title out in Oklahoma. Joe Warren, is that the beginning of the end for the 40-year-old? Darian Caldwell, he got called up, and it looks like he may be next for Dantas. He served up Joe Taimanglo, so now they're 1-1, but him having the latest win, it looks like him and Dantas will be matched up. So lots to talk about. And, of course, this weekend is UFC 206 out in Toronto. Max Holloway will be battling Anthony Pettis. Former UFC lightweight champion Anthony Pettis has dropped to featherweight. This will be his second fight at that weight class. And the winner gets the interim belt. And aside from that, the winner gets to fight the new featherweight champion, Jose Aldo. New as in if you've been hiding under a rock, by now you know that Conor McGregor has relinquished, yes, those are air quotes, relinquished his title. Dana's insisting that's what happened. Others are feeling he was stripped. Either way, I think Conor had accepted that he wasn't going to be able to have both. Look, you're going to make history and try and go for both and be a simultaneous champion, but I think he knew he was not going to stick around and defend both. So whether it was relinquished or stripped, it just had to happen.
I think he kind of felt like maybe he could do it. Remember, when it comes to Conor McGregor, the rules don't apply.
It could be.
He lives on another planet.
It could be. There was a recent video where he's getting on or getting off a plane, and he had his two belts, so he's still rocking it.
He's like Tim Silva.
Yeah, he's still rocking that title. All right, folks, you're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93. Give us a few minutes. We'll be right back after this break.
Is it good?
They are Gorgeous George and Goze, and this is MMA Junkie Radio.
This Saturday night, Max Holloway steps into the cage to battle Anthony Pettis for the interim featherweight championship at UFC 206 in Toronto. Listen to in-depth coverage of the entire card starting Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern with SiriusXM's UFC 206 pre-fight live and analysis from SiriusXM's UFC 206 post-fight live. Exclusively on your home for combat sports, SiriusXM Rush Channel 93, and the SiriusXM app. Stitch Duran here in studio with us. Stitch, that Andre Ward fight, just got to give some love to Team Ward. You guys got past Sergey Kovalev. Hopefully I got that name right. Some of the Russians overlap there in names with MMA and boxing, but what a fight, huh?
Yeah, it was a little scary. You know, the first 5 rounds, Kovalev was doing a tremendous job.
Especially the second.
Well, the second one, yeah, for sure. And, you know, for him to be controlling Andre, and I expected it to be the other way. But then, you know, I think it was important for Andre to have gotten dropped in that second round because I think it took that monkey off his back. And it was cool because when I'm taking the gloves off of Andre, he says, you know, the sign of a good champion is when you get dropped, you get up and win a fight. Mm-hmm. You know, a little bit of controversy on the decision and all that. I thought Andre won, but I'm sure there's going to be a rematch, and I would expect it to be immediately.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. The judges all agreed. It was the identical. He also had an identical score to the judges as well. So while it was controversial, I don't think anyone can say that anybody was robbed or anything like that. It was just 2 great fighters going in there doing their thing. And you're right, they need to run it back.
Yeah, no, I'm sure they will. So I'm looking forward to that one.
What I like about both fighters is they have that type of style where they can make an adjustment, and that second fight can look completely different. You'll feel like you're watching another fight.
Yeah, I always waited for that one shot, that Kovalev. It was one of those battles, man.
This was one of the first times that you walked through the tunnels at T-Mobile, correct?
That's the second time, actually. First one I did with Amir Khan. I worked with him when he fought Canelo. So it's old news now, brother.
That place, it has bones. it has soul. Is it starting to gain that a little bit? Like, what would you say, maybe that Andre Ward?
I think so. You know, I think so. You know, the fans definitely enjoyed it. The energy level there was high. As a matter of fact, when they're announcing the decisions, I couldn't hear the scores because it was so loud. And the only thing I heard, and and then I saw Andre lift his arms up. I mean, it was that loud. So
there's so many belts in boxing that a lot of time when they say that, the fighter still doesn't even know what's going on.
Exactly. Yeah,
Who's the champ? To hear his name.
That's a great arena, though.
It is. It's pretty awesome. But I tell you what, it's a big, big arena, and when you're in the dressing rooms, it's very, very easy to get lost.
Oh, yeah?
And I think to find Andre's dressing room when I first got there, I literally went around the whole arena like 3 times. Mm-hmm. And nobody there was there to really guide us or give us signs. Well, yeah, he's there. But it was a tough thing.
Wow. All right, let's get to some calls. We've been waiting for a while. 2 beasts of callers there, Proteus and Brandon back-to-back. Let's go with Proteus in Ontario, Canada. What's up, Proteus?
What's up? How you gentlemen doing? Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to be back in Stitch. How are you doing?
Oh, good. It's always good to be here with the Junkie Boys.
Yeah, it's always good to hear your voice on the show, sir. We're glad to come in.
Thank you, sir.
So, boys, I heard you talking about 206 earlier on, and as you know, from Ontario, and I'll be attending, and I wanted to throw out a quick ploy to all the junkies that are coming to the city, or they're going to be in Toronto. Let's all get together. Let's hang out. Let's watch the fights on Friday night. I think that'd be a great idea. It's going to be my junkie gathering, so I hope a lot of you guys can show up.
Where's the spot?
I think basically what is going on is James Lynch is going to be throwing a party at Boston Pizza on Front Street in Toronto. So I think maybe let's do that. Let's piggyback on that.
Boston Pizza, it's called?
The fights are going to be Boston Pizza.
Boston Pizza in Toronto. Okay.
And it's on Front Street. Isn't that cool? I'll put someone on Front Street.
Yeah, you could throw people under the bus on Front Street. Oh, man, why you got to put me on Front Street? Well, that's where we're at. All right. Boston Pizza. What time on Friday?
Apparently it starts 7:30, and like I said, the fights will be on there. So let's get that done.
Very cool.
Weigh-ins, you know.
All right, so 7:30, and we're obviously talking local time, 7:30 Eastern time at Boston Pizza in Toronto. For any junkies that are hanging out for UFC 206, whether you live there or you're traveling to there for the event. Don't forget, UFC Fight Night 102 is the night before, headlined by Derek Lewis, and that should be a fun card. And hang out and watch some fights with some junkies. Good stuff, Proteus. What else you got, man?
Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about Donald Cerrone, if we could, because we're talking about 206. What's up with Donald Cerrone lately? I mean, he's giving us that gag, or maybe it's not a gag, that his eye is injured, and the injury has kind of switched from one eye to another eye. And now we're seeing this big neck tattoo. I'm not a fan, guys. I'm going to be honest. Let's hope that's fake too, right?
Yeah, Cerrone's in the movie, and all that is Hollywood 101. So he's getting the attention of everybody, so I can't wait to see what the movie's about.
Yeah. Because he did so when they announced the MMAAA, which is the Mixed Martial Arts Athlete Association, they also had, them in suits and them in their T-shirts. And he also took the picture there. And so then people started saying, oh, wait a minute, it wasn't just an Instagram post. He really is. But when you put the makeup on, as you well know, it's a bitch to take it off. So I think he went out there and he's just continuing wearing the makeup. But I don't believe he lost his eye or anything like that. I thought he was pretty upfront after a while and said that was a gag.
Yeah, that type of makeup, it's 3, 4, 5 hour process.
Right.
So keep it on. Plus, it looks good on them.
Yeah, exactly. As far as the tattoo, I don't know. I haven't looked at any of the embedded, or I haven't really turned the page or anything. I had a major drama yesterday. My computer went out. I went to Apple, and after sorting through all the different options I had, I just decided to buy this little bad boy and get back on track and deal with that other one later. I got 14 days to return it if I don't like it. But, man, you live off these things,
sure,
especially
absolutely.
our show. So I just had to do that. So I don't know what's up with the tattoo or what he did, but it could just be movie stuff still if he's in L.A. or if he's already in Toronto. I guess he just got himself a new tattoo. What do you care anyway, Proteus?
Yeah, why don't you like that tattoos?
Yeah, what's the deal? I mean, there's other guys that are like way more tatted up than Cerrone.
Absolutely. I just don't understand. It's just all of a sudden this big, huge tattoo on his neck. I know he's a EMF. I know that for sure, but he doesn't need to have a tattoo on his neck, does he? We all know this.
I don't know, man. You know the way he rolls. His whole leg, I think his legs, his shins, everything's tatted up.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's great to hear from you. We got to move on. Thanks for the call. Boston Pizza in Toronto, and that's 7:30 for the viewing UFC 102. A bunch of junkies getting together. And you can hit the guys up on social media. Brandon in Louisville's up next. What's up, Brandon?
Guys, it is day 24 of the never-ending reign of the double champ. Gorgeous George, Goze, Mr. Duran. How are y'all doing today?
What's up, my man?
We're doing great.
Stitch, I just want to say real quick, thank you for everything you do for the sport, for this show, for the fans. More importantly, thank you for that wonderful daughter of yours. She is always a joy. I was chit-chatting with her yesterday, and she was super excited to finally see her Duke Blue Devils basketball team live and in person. They're playing some scrub team in Vegas on Saturday.
Ooh, go.
Oh, man. And the part that sucks is I have to sit here and take it because, yeah, they do suck.
Really?
We're terrible, man. But,
Oh, wow.
But you know what? The expectations were super low, and they haven't been as bad as we thought they would be, but they're still pretty bad.
Okay. And Duke comes to town?
Duke comes
That's
to town.
Carla's
It's
team?
at
Oh,
Duke
yeah,
Mobile.
big time, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she's a big fan, and and she's been, she's a doll. You guys know Carla.
Of course, yeah.
And she's there to support her pops, all the way. But she's a big wrestling geek, and obviously, she's a big basketball fan also. So
Nice.
Thanks for the compliments. I'll let her know.
All right. Brandon, anything else?
Yeah, actually, the MMA, AARP, whatever. So I'm reading the transcript of the presser and a few subsequent interviews, and I want y'all to play a little true or false with me if you can. Stitch, if you have to recuse yourself for sound business practices, I understand. I hate for you to get unjustly terminated from another organization for speaking your mind. But just real quick. So Bjorn Redney claims that the UFC is only giving 8% of revenues to the fighters. True or false, in your all's opinion?
I think it's a little bit more than that, if I had to guess, so I would say false.
Yeah, I would say false because that's the easy answer. It could be anywhere from 6 to 1 or from 9 to 100. All right, but the reason I say that is I think PFA did their study as well. They said 15%. And frankly, I was always a little naive. I thought it was maybe closer to 25. Because Lorenzo had once told ESPN it was 50. So when you hear all these numbers, you just kind of make your own guesses as to what it could be. I guess I would say false, but I would say maybe I'm being optimistic once again that it's maybe 20. That's kind of my number. Stitch, you want to take a guess? What you think the split is between athletes and
well, I don't know, but if it's not 50-50, it's not a fair deal, right?
If you compare it to the other sports, for sure.
Yeah, because this sport is based on the performance of fighters, and I think the fighters have to they have to be compensated fairly, and that I always said even about managers, and there's an unwritten rule. Well, fighters don't know that. You could sign a contract with a manager anywhere from 1 to 33 1/3%, but these fighters just don't know. So a lot of these managers, they'll take the 33 1/3%,
right?
Even though all they're doing is making a phone call and getting a match, and that's just not fair. So I think whoever comes out and really straightens out this problem, kudos to them.
Thanks, Brandon, for the call. We got to move on. One more, Marco from Waco, Texas. What's up, Marco?
Marco from Waco, que pasa, vatos, on the certified battle Stitch.
¿Qué pasó, Marcos?
Pásate lado. Hey, real quick, Tim Elliott is a beast. Love that kid, man. Hope that he looks as good in 135 as he did against Demetrius. My homeboy Proteus didn't talk about the Evil Empire, but I forgive you, Proteus. You'll do it on your own podcast. And I was listening to the USC podcast with, Matt Serra. And then I went through a nugget that I found really interesting about Chris Cyborg. He said on the podcast that they offered Chris Cyborg two title fights at 145 for a featherweight title, once against Holly Holm and the other one in Brooklyn against Duran and Chris Cyborg turned it down. So if half of this is true, because I take whatever Dana said with a grain of salt, what are we talking about, Cyborg? I mean, everybody's crying, whining, and complaining. Oh, make a weight class for her. Apparently, Dana White did offer her a title fight to make a weight class for her, and she turned it down. What are we talking about, Chris Cyborg? What are we talking? You cannot make the weight in 8 weeks? Come on, man. We're going to let you guys catch that tomorrow.
Okay. Hey, Marco, so she specified, I just don't want to fight for the title because I can't make the weight in 8 weeks? Or did she just say, I don't want any feather?
The first time against Holly Holm, she said 8 weeks, and then, according to Dana, the second time when they offered the fight in Brooklyn, that is more than 8 weeks from now, against Irene Randani, she turned down that fight too.
Damn. That's bizarre. Wasn't she putting out a quote that said if the UFC doesn't have a featherweight division,
she's quitting.
I'm no longer interested? Yeah. So, yeah, there's two versions there of what, who knows what the truth is. I guess maybe it's in the middle. All right, thank you, Marco, for the call. Okay. Damn. Like, if that got offered to her, it doesn't get any better than that, right? Isn't that what she wanted all along?
She has to fight, at least get her feet wet. In the UFC, right?
She's been doing 40, and now she gets a title shot in Brooklyn in an extra 5 pounds.
It's the dream scenario,
yeah,
right?
We'll have to follow up with Chris Cyborg to see what that's all about. All right, so, James, we met you earlier. I need you to do me a favor and come over here, please.
James, come on down.
All right, James is a gentleman that I just met about 30 minutes ago. But it's a gentleman that we'll get to know a little bit more on our trip to visit the military. So, James, you obviously know what Stitch Duran does for a living. He's a co-author. He's an actor. Is his mic on?
Yeah.
All right. He's an actor. He's a co-author of a book. But, where we all know him from is boxing and MMA. Now, you see him as a cut man, and he's tending to the boxers, to the MMA fighters. But before it all starts, what he does is wrap the athlete's hands so that they're ready to go out for battle. And I've had my hand wrapped, and it's a great feeling, man. I felt like punching someone when I left the studio. So we would like to extend that to you so you can see what it's like to get your hand wrapped by the preeminent name in combat sports, Stitch Duran. You in?
Definitely.
Sure. We'll
all right, but no punching anybody.
Oh, I can't agree to that. But
you can punch a wall or something like that.
But I would love it.
Keep in mind, James is the one that set the schedule for everything that's going to happen this week. So if we don't like that schedule, he's going to make you into a mummy. He's going to wrap you all around.
Luckily, I won't get back until it's over.
And spending some time with you all.
Great, awesome, and then we can't wait till you get there.
Yeah. Are you a fan of MMA and boxing, or where do you sit with sports in general?
Actually, I was more of a boxing fan. Mm-hmm. Always followed the Tyson days. I heard you mention you had worked with Klitschko, and that was my start. MMA kind of for me, I'm learning it now. All the names, all of those I got that are huge in religion. That I'm listening to your people calling in, and I'm like, gosh, they know so much about it. They're really in tune with it. They're following it, every step of the way. And I'm pretty sure I will become that same fan.
Very cool. All right. Well, listen, again, thanks for the invite. Thanks for everything you all do for us. And we can't wait to get out there and spend a few days with you. Now, I mean, we may catch you, I think, towards the latter end of the trip, but we will see you out there. But it's also been great seeing you here.
I appreciate it. Thank you for the invitation. Thank y'all for coming out to Langley. Like I said, it's a wonderful experience on both ends. Like I said, we can't wait to get you there, show you a great time, and also get you in front of our thousands of troops there at Langley.
Well, you must have done a good job, because I've received 3 messages already where guys are waiting for me to go over there. One guy says he's going to be sparring. He wants me to go at the gym. The other guy says I'm going to be going to his building. He's going to have a one more round shirt he wants me to sign. And another guy says, you know what, I can't wait to meet you. So you've done a great job, and, we're looking forward to it. And, what gets me so excited is that I was in the Air Force, so it's nice to go back to an Air Force installation and see how the game has changed.
But, Stitch, you told me you got 3 calls. I'm trying to figure out how all these people got your phone number.
Well, these are messages.
I'm looking at my phone. I'm like, I don't have Stitch's number in there. How do I get on Stitch's call plan? How can I text him? But yeah, that is great. They are eager to get y'all there and be with y'all. Y'all learn. You will learn from us. They'll learn from you. So sounds like it's going to be a really fun. We try to put together the best plan we could. Get you in front of.
Be right back.
All right.
They are the stretch marks on the underbelly of the MMA community. But hey, stretch marks are the new tats. They are Gorgeous George and Goze.
All right, we're back here on MMA Junkie Radio, and we have a special guest today. We brought him in studio. He just happened to be in studio, but we're glad that we got him in studio because I heard he's a pretty fun guy to have. It's Major Kevin Whitlatch, correct?
That's correct. Yes, indeed. Yes, sir.
And he is the spokesman for the base, right?
Correct.
Yes. Langley Air Force Base. That's where we're going to be going. George, you want to talk a little bit about who's going, what we're doing?
Yes, so we will be going, we've mentioned Whitlatch, Duran, and Goze. And the three fighters that will be going with us are Ben Rothwell, Lorenz Larkin, and Valentina Shevchenko. Ben Rothwell, UFC heavyweight contender, cool-ass guy, hard hitter, great grappler, all-around awesome dude. He spent some time with us at the Junkie Gathering, and I can't wait to hang out with him for a few days. Lorenz Larkin, one of the most dynamic strikers out there, maybe the fastest leg kicks in the game. He's a human highlight film, and right now he's currently a free agent, but I'm telling you, man, the offers are pouring in for Lorenz Larkin. He's coming off a win over Neil Magny, and Neil Magny's a tough SOB.
Kid,
yeah, so he's got a lot of leverage going on right now. And, of course, Valentina Shevchenko, the number 2 ranked UFC bantamweight in the world. She has, I believe, a fight booking coming up, but it hasn't been announced. It should be coming out shortly. But she does have a fight booking coming out in early 2017, and she'll be joining us. She's one of the top bantamweights in the world. So you may be seeing her versus the winner of Nunes and Rousey if things go her way.
Yeah, and so that's why we won't have a show on Thursday and Friday, because we will actually be in Virginia. Major, you want to tell us a little bit about the base? Give us some info?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. First of all, George and Goze, thanks for having me on. It's a real honor to be here and kind of talk about this visit that you guys have been working hard to plan and come out to our neck of the woods there, Joint Base Langley Eustis, here in a few days. So we have a pretty big joint base, one of the biggest, certainly in the United States, and one of the biggest on the East Coast. About 21,000 joint personnel in the area on 2 sides of the installation. On 2 sides, I mean, we have an Air Force base and an Army base that we actually have merged into a joint base as of about 6 years ago. So a tremendous amount of airmen and soldier population on both sides of the installation. 5 different commands on the Langley side, 8 different commands on the Eustis side. So a lot of mission sets, over 55 different mission organizations, all of which some way contribute to national defense and global response force reside right there in our area. And we couldn't be more excited to have the UFC and have these 3 amazing athletes join us for a few days. We have a wild MMA and UFC following there, a lot of young airmen and soldiers. We try to really instill the warrior culture within them as they go to do battle each and every day, similar to the way these fighters do. So it's going to be a great visit. We're excited to show you what we got and interact with these amazing fighters.
We're getting some messages from the Army combative guys or some combative people from the Air Force. There's been a lot of buzz since you guys announced it, so this is really cool. We're super pumped up to be there. We can't wait to do it.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, thank you again. I mean, just to have something like this, you know, our soldiers and airmen are really on the grind each and every day. I know, Stitch talked about it a little bit earlier. So kind of to come up for a little bit of air and see some goodwill and good faith for some of their heroes, and to just be able to interact, maybe learn something going both ways, and then to just, kick back and end up watching the fight on Saturday night with these guys will be special, and we're very appreciative of that.
Yeah, and it's very energizing, Major, just to go over there and talk to the troops and, the airmen and just to see what got them to that position. How did they join the Air Force? What are they doing? What's their job specifics? And, what are their goals?
Right.
And just to hear their war stories and then for us to share, some of the stuff that we've been through. So, I know we come back with a lot of energy, and I think they definitely stay with that energy. And I think, you guys putting us there is the whole reason for exactly those type of moments.
Yeah, well, appreciate you saying that, Stitch, and appreciate you having you on the trip as well. I mean, we see you cornering every big fighter the last couple decades or so. You see your face on the TV, so having you kind of talk to some of our airmen and our soldiers up live and in person is going to be a tremendous thrill for them. So thank you.
Yes.
I'll tell you what. On our last trip, we had some pretty good fighters that we took as well, but I would probably say the team captain or all-star was this man right here.
Yeah, Stitch was our MVP.
I believe it.
He had some great moments. He was leading the charge. He was experienced because he's obviously served in the military before. But it was a great trip, and we just knew at some point we had to get this band together and do it again. And thank you all again, over and over, for inviting us. We can't wait. Yourself, Major, James, Alton, Dunham, a lot of people we've been talking to, coordinating, but it's all coming to fruition. And tomorrow we get on a steel bird and we're headed your way.
Yeah, no, it really is a tremendous. There are a lot of work from this side and through Mr. Dunham and the Force Support Squadron at Langley to kind of make this happen. And I think our airmen are going to really shock you with some of their stories. And we have an all-volunteer force, so no one's really forcing them to be there. Everyone that you're going to meet serving in uniform has volunteered to do so. Many of them have had at least one combat deployment, if not many. As you know, we've been engaged in global conflict for the last seemingly couple decades, nonstop. So a lot of stuff going on, and we're fighting a lot of those battles right from the bases you're going to be going to.
Oh, wow.
These airmen are doing intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance missions from Langley, where they're, looking at real-time warfighting data and making life and death decisions, right there from the base each and every day. So to step out of that and interact with, some professional warriors is going to be just a tremendous thrill for everyone involved.
And Major, the thing that we got out of going to Afghanistan, and I've done other trips with other fighters, but these guys have done multiple tours.
Right.
The number one question we asked them is, why do you do it? And their only answer was brotherhood. So there's a strong brotherhood amongst the soldiers and the airmen, and it's nice to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. So that there is a unique kind of partnership within kind of the military itself and within our airmen and soldiers ranks. And what we try to do at this point is build partnerships with similar media types or professional athletes, anything to kind of enhance morale, because as you said, we do have that unique partnership within our ranks, and it's time to kind of build that through visits like this. And I know you've done one in the past, and we're hoping this one is a similar success.
Oh, I'm sure it will be.
So you've been getting texts.
Yes.
You've been getting texts.
Yeah.
I got my text, and this one says, be careful. This comes from a good friend of ours who welched on a bet, by the way. Still owes me a Chipotle burrito. But I don't like to sell people out, so we'll just call him Jason F. for now. All right? He says, he also goes by Jay Ford as well.
Oh, yeah, I know that guy.
Anyway, be careful what you wish for with that gas chamber. So, Stitch, you still going first?
Well, hey, let's do it, man. Come on, guys. You guys got to go right behind me.
I got asthma.
And actually, I come on, man. I saw videos of it, and you kind of put your arms on each other's shoulders. Come on,
like the Gracie train?
I think so. Yeah, here we go. So we got to do it.
All right.
Jeez.
We'll get you one of those. Don't worry about it, Goze.
The little spray? That ain't going to help, dude. This is a gas chamber.
He's choking already.
Yeah, I can see it.
He's choking already.
He's got to go first.
How come I got denied what I wanted? Why are we flying Southwest? We should be on a Raptor and then parachuting out on
that would have been nice.
Simple answer goes,
I would do that.
It's a one-seater, so not like you can't do a lot with that.
Yeah. Really? It is a one-seater?
It is, yes, indeed.
Oh, okay.
So, it's an amazing airplane. You'll see him. See him flying in the pattern there.
We got to go
There's
on.
nothing like seeing a Raptor fly. So you'll see him.
We've had bad experience with planes before.
Have we?
Yeah, remember the
helicopter,
the camera stuff and all that.
Oh, the Black Hawk helicopter. Yeah. We've been on one of those.
Oh yeah, those are cool too.
Those are cool.
We have on the Army side of the installation. So on the Langley side, we operate the first fighter wing, which is a fleet of F-22 Raptors and T-38 Talons, which is the fighter trainer used to train for that next step in the evolution process. And then on the Army side of the installation on Fort Eustis, we have Felker Army Airfield, which has actually the biggest Army airfield where they do a lot of the helicopter training. So a lot of missions out of both sides there that just never stop 365 days a year to organize, train, and equip to go overseas when necessary. So pretty cool stuff on both sides.
Man, I'm pumped.
Yeah. And it's crazy. A little quick story is when I was in the Air Force, the Thunderbirds were doing a tour through South America. So they were asking, I was a cop, right? So they were asking for security. So I had to do this written test in Spanish. These words were words I never heard about in my life, man. So I didn't make it. I flunked. but that would have been nice just to be on tour with the Thunderbirds.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, I used to see the Blue Angels.
Blue Angels.
My dad used to, we used to take us to it was back when there was a El Toro Marine Base in Southern California. So I've been there, and I think I may have seen the Thunderbirds. And then down in Miramar, there's another group. I can't remember what they were called, but I did that for a few years, for a consistent 8 to 10 years. That was our thing, like on Memorial Day, and it was cool.
We actually got invited to possibly do the Thunderbirds, and I showed you like the conversation that I had with the gentleman. When he was describing like what would happen, it was the worst pitch you've ever heard in your life. Because he goes, all right, you're probably going to pass out. You're probably going to throw up. And then you need to put on a suit that distributes all the blood in your body from your head back down to your body. It sounded like it was a nightmare, but I'm still down. I would still do that. How about you guys?
I'm game. I don't mind throwing up. I've done it before.
You can tell the pilot because it was something about Mach 4, right? I was hearing that Mach
like
5.
That, yeah.
You can tell the pilot, take it easy. Mach 1 is good for me, so you don't have to go full
I don't
blast.
even like the Gillette Mach razors, so I'm not even trying to do that.
Hey, they won't do that because, when I was a cop, I was working the Minuteman missiles in South Dakota, and these pilots had just came back from Vietnam, right? Mm-hmm. And they would be turning this way and chasing cows and all that and giving us a hard time, but that's what they do, man. They want to tease you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Let's take this quick call here from Vegas Ford, the Vegas Ford. How you doing, Vegas Ford?
Hey guys, how's it going? It's an honor to be able to speak to MMA legends and and military heroes today. And George, it's nice to speak to you too. How are you?
Good, sir. How about you?
I'm doing real well. Hey, welcome to Strong Words, sir. I just haven't seen you. As a matter of fact, I gave your money to Dante. He said he's going to give it to you at the next gathering at his room party.
At his room party? Okay, then I'm not getting it. This is the Welch. This is the guy.
This is Jay Ford, right?
This is Jay Ford, yeah. How you doing, bud? When's that burrito going to arrive?
What are you doing this weekend, man?
You going to ship it to Langley?
You're gonna be gone.
I'll be back. I'll be back on Sunday.
I'll see if I can get it to you before I go to New York this month.
Scoop us up at the airport and have that burrito ready. What's on your mind, brother?
There you go, bud. Yeah, I want to bring us back to the MMA. I don't know, what is it? AAA, whatnot. Just kind of wanted to get the panel's thoughts on how.
I always. Which a promotion makes money. We always talk about the gate and pay-per-view sales, and then we tail off because we don't know very much about the other ways that the UFC generates revenue. A guy like Bjorn Rebney would. So I see that angle, and I can see how it'd be beneficial. He's also an attorney. So, yes, I know others have labeled him a terrible person, a snake, this, that, whatever. But if now you have that guy working for you, I guess maybe that's that. So I'm sure they talked with him about this, and they probably went over, his past in mixed martial arts and their thoughts. But 5 grown men made a decision, and a lot of people behind the scenes. So, I'm backing them. I wish the best for the fighters, and we'll see what happens. All right. He sounds like he has his mind made up.
Sure.
He doesn't like Bjorn
Rebney,
Rebney, but like I say, I know that Bjorn butted heads with others. I realize that. He was running a business. That business is still marching on. Plus, I also know the other side where fighters also complain a lot. And I'm not saying that happened with Eddie Alvarez. And I'm not saying Bjorn's a saint. All I'm saying is there's always two sides to a story. But, he does have, I guess, intel that can benefit them.
Even if you don't trust him, you got to trust some of those names that were in that room. Those are some of the most respected mixed martial artists in the game.
Mm-hmm. All right, we have a few minutes left here with the Major. Major, let's cover one thing here.
Let's do it.
Ohio State. The Buckeyes.
It's a personal issue for me.
Yeah. Are they going to get it done? Or I don't want you foolishly just throwing away money or anything like that.
Line's on the move against Clemson on the way up, so I feel pretty good about that one.
Yeah.
And then we'll just need a little bit of good fortune
Alabama's,
against Bama.
They're beasts.
That's a tough one. We beat them before 2 years ago as a massive underdog, so I'm not saying it's impossible, but they look pretty tough. Mm-hmm. But I'm
should they be in the dance, or should Penn State be in the dance? Because you technically
that one I can
aren't
unequivocally say that Ohio State should be in the dance.
Yeah.
Well, committee's in a tough spot. If it were the other way around, I would probably be lobbying for Ohio State to be in as a conference champ. I'm not going to lie. But, there's 5 big conferences. There's only 4 title spots. So you automatically know going in one team is going to kind of get not the fair consideration.
To be fair, unfortunately, if they were both 10-1 or 11-1, I don't know where they reside, then I think Penn State would be getting robbed. But when they lost the second game, it kind of took them out of the talk of 10-1 teams or one-loss teams. However,
college football rankings, regardless of the playoff era or BCS era or just the AP poll era, you kind of that second loss does take you out of for everyone discussing the contenders for October and November. Penn State wasn't being discussed because they did have 2 losses. So right or wrong, that's the kind of way the sport works. Is the one-loss teams get considered for this kind of stuff, and that second loss kind of dings you. So that's kind of what happened.
I actually have your back. I placed a large bet on Ohio State this morning. Unfortunately, they gave me back the ticket like this already torn up. So I don't even know what that means or what.
Not much confidence in the Buckeyes.
I had the Indiana Pacers plus 16 last night, and they lost by 40. So I also was able to tear that one up.
The Pacers or the Hoosiers?
No, the Pacers.
Oh, wow. They lost by 40?
They lost by 40.
This is NBA. Wow. Professional teams are losing by that much. Okay.
So that's similar. So maybe I'm not that good at this, but I still like the Buckeyes to beat Clemson at a minimum.
Well, thank you again for the invite.
Yeah, thank
to
you.
Langley Eustis. We look forward to that. It's been nice meeting you. Good luck to the Buckeyes.
Likewise. Thank you very much for having me, and proud to represent joint-based Langley Eustis here in Vegas this week.
.com/MMA Junkie video. That's right. Those are our new addresses where you can catch the show. So take note of those. Save them. Make them your favorites. Do what you got to do. Again, Zach Robinson, he co-authored From the Fields to the Garden 2 with Stitch Duran. He'll be calling in from Deutschland.
And Germany, yes.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll be right back after this break.
You can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Thank you, sir. All right, come back.
All right, here we go. It's the second hour of the MMA Junkie Radio Show. Got Stitch Duran here in studio. Zach Robinson will be joining us in just a second. But, guys, I got goosebumps, man. I'm ready for that trip. It was nice talking to James and Major Whitlatch and even reminiscing some of that the old footage, that I have of Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good time.
When I left the Air Force, one of the things is I would, because I say I was a cop, right? So I would take care of the B-52s, and then they started coming in with the B-1s. But I would go to eat at the officers' quarters, and they had SOS. It's, I guess, gravy and sausage and gravy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the last year of my career there, that's when I started eating it, and I got addicted to it, man. So hopefully they'll have some SOS when I go back, man, and you guys could try it out. Definitely a lot better than the sausage and gravy. I think SOS for shit on shingles.
Oh.
So,
all right.
But you'll like it, man.
Just like everything else, you'll be the first to try that as well.
Oh, no, I've already done it. And then we'll go take plane rides and you can throw up.
Oh. Are you going to do any of your tricks, Dr. Pepper through your nose or anything like that?
That just happened.
Oh, that just happened. Okay.
Yeah, nothing was scripted there, right? So.
Twice, too.
Twice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, I want to introduce Zach Robinson, who has co-authored his second book with Stitch Duran. Not his second book overall. I've seen that he's done other work, but with Stitch Duran, this is part 2 of From the Fields to the Garden. We put that up a while back, so it's not up. It's not coming soon. It's here. StitchDuran.com, and again, both books are available for purchase. So get on that. I'm calling them stocking stuffers, because they really the book literally fits in a stocking. But it's such a great read; it'd be a wonderful gift for anybody. So once again, congratulations to Stitch. And here is the other side of the coin, Zach Robinson. What's up, Zach? How you doing?
Hey, what's up? How you guys doing?
Good. Welcome back to MMA Junkie Radio. You're on with George and Goze. Congratulations, Zach, on From the Fields to the Garden Part 2. And, Goze and I did get an early crack at that. Amazing stuff you guys did.
Great, man. We appreciate it.
Yeah. All right, so tell me, what is the greatest feeling you get from writing a book? Not specific to this book, but just a book when the journey's done. I'm curious.
Real quick now, before Jack gets into that answer there, happy birthday, Zach. Today's his birthday.
That's right.
So from everybody with the Junkie crew, want to wish you a happy birthday, buddy. And now you go ahead and answer your question.
Yeah, I just once you finish a product, there's just this feeling of this sense of relief and accomplishment. Mm-hmm. It's so great. You just have a moment where you sit back and go, wow, I did something, or we did something, and we really achieved something that's going to be hopefully inspirational to others.
Tell us about working with Stitch, and feel free to, if you got to say, hey, look, before 8 a.m., he's not the most pleasant fella, whatever, tell us the good stuff, but some of the challenges. Stitch is here in Las Vegas, and he travels a lot, and, of course, you're based in Germany, so it's not like you two are sitting side by side. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there's some Skype sessions, some phone call sessions. This isn't an easy endeavor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we did about 8 hours interviews this time through the phone and Skype and whatnot. But honestly, Stitch he's so great to work with. Like the first book, we hit it off. We worked great together. And this one we did as well. And one day I was like, hey, I'm going to call you pretty early. He's like, it can be 3 a.m. Give me a call. So there hasn't been really any issues working with Stitch. We work really well together. We talk. I do some writing. We bounce it back and forth and then come up with our finished product.
That goes for us, too? We can call you at 3 a.m.?
Sure, anytime. You know.
I think we've done it before.
Okay.
Yeah, you've done it before. Goze woke me up this morning.
No.
Yeah, but let me add on my side working with Zach, and to me, like I say, I knew nothing about writing books, and during the time with Matt Hughes and all these guys were having books written, I went out and had lunch with one of the writers, and 2 or 3 guys asked to write books, and I'm the kind of guy, if you want to do it, let's do it, right? Well, I get an email from Zach and told me the same thing, and I'm the kind of guy, like say, I was going to be in Germany 2 weeks later, and Zach is a teacher for the military kids in Germany. I was going to be in Germany 2 weeks later with Klitschko, and I'd never met him. We sat down, and he went to the fights, and we spent 3 days together, and we shook hands, wrote a book, and didn't even sign the contract till the book was done.
Wow.
But we hit it off right. Zach's a baseball player, and I used to play baseball, and he's from Oklahoma, and I'm a country boy, and it was meant to be. And like I had mentioned before, I guess to write a good book and have somebody like Zach that writes it, he has to really understand the person he's writing it for.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Zach knows me probably better than anybody when it comes to writing books. And, Zach, how many times have you heard that, people are saying it feels like Stitch is talking to me when I'm reading the book, and that's just a good writer.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, a lot of times, and that's a real compliment, to get that, because my job is to not be really there, and so it's like they're getting your like they're sitting down with you, hanging out, having a cup of coffee, drinking a beer, or whatever, and hearing your stories,
And guys, this is a question for both of you. What made you believe that now was the right time for part 2? Because part 2 could be, you could have written it in 6 months, or you could have written it 6 months ago. You're full of history, rich history in combat sports, Stitch, and great stories all around. But what made this the right time?
Well, I think, the request by the fans, they kept asking, how about a second book and a second book? And, one of the guys was talking about, getting together in Toronto and with all the junkie guys. And, everywhere I go, the junkie fans always stop me. And, I had lunch with Aaron Menard when I was up in Windstar. But I think the timing was right. And then my release from the UFC, once the dust settled and I knew I was getting a lot of love and support from the fans, I got a hold of Zach and asked him if he was ready, and he jumped on it in a heartbeat. And, our goal was to bring it out, by early December, and we accomplished that mission.
You sure did. And how about you, Zach, from your end? What made you believe this was the right time? Was it just Stitch's green light, or had you been cooking this bad boy up now for a while?
Well, I wasn't real sure. I mean, at the time, I'd stopped writing for a few months. I was just kind of just hit a little rut and was kind of like, man, I don't know if I want to keep writing. And then Stitch called, and we started talking about it. And, he's an inspirational guy. Stitch is motivating. And he's like, hey, this is the time, let's do this. And I started thinking about it, and I was like, he's right. He's right. You know what? I'm on board. Let's get it done. And that was August, and here we are in December, and we got to complete a book.
Yeah, and what was funny is his only concern is he was starting school, coming up in September. And, this was in August, and, he went through, doing what he had to do through school, and we got it done. So,
all right. Goze, what do you have for Zach Robinson?
Zach, what would you say were the major differences between the first book and the second book? Was it written in the same style?
No, this book isn't chronological. The first book kind of follows Stitch's whole life, and this one we kind of bounce around and just tell stories based on, where they fit, based on the sections, whether it's boxing or MMA or show business or whatever. So we kind of bounced around, and I really like the way it flows this time, actually.
Was there any particular chapter in the book where you felt like you could have written an entire book just on that chapter?
Yeah, definitely. The Afghanistan chapter.
Huh.
In the chapters, actually, there's a lot of chapters when you guys were in Afghanistan. I think that one we could have gone on and on. And the one about Kazakhstan, with Stitch traveling through Kazakhstan, planes, trains, and automobiles. That one I think we could have gone on and on as well.
Was that the cold train that you told us about?
Yeah, the old Soviet Union train, right?
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Zach, what was – sorry, Goze.
Well, I was just going to ask, from the Fields of the Garden 2, was there ever a moment where you guys thought about changing the title for the second book?
Yeah, Zach kind of talked me out of it, but I was going to call it We Were Never Friends.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So that kind of talked me out of that.
Zach, why'd you talk him out of it?
I just thought that might be a little bit too much. I don't know, maybe poking the bear a little. I don't know. And then he said, let's just call it From the Fields to the Garden too. And I like jotted down a bunch of different ideas. I was trying to think of some different names, but I thought, you know what, From the Fields to the Garden, that represents Stitch. From him being in the migrant camps and working when he's young and working his way out of it, and then finally working in Madison Square Garden. So, you know what, From the Fields to the Garden too, that makes sense.
What was your favorite chapter to write? Stitch said the Afghanistan was his favorite. Do you have a personal favorite?
Yeah, I really liked that one, but I actually think probably my favorite chapter was the one with Huitimata, when Stitch did ayahuasca, and just the Native 101 stuff where he ate the Eskimoles, if I'm saying it correctly, and I loved those chapters, and the Leon Tabbs chapter, I thought that was great as well. So it's just Stitch and Leon go way, way back, and it just really seemed to capture their relationship really well.
Yeah, and let me add to that story. Leon's birthday was last month, 85 years old, and his son had got a hold of me and has invited me to the birthday party, but I was already booked. So what I did is I sent Leon's son the chapter that we wrote about Leon, and his grandkids read that chapter to him during the party, and he started crying.
Oh wow!
Wow. That really just kind of meant everything to me, and I spoke to Leon a couple weeks ago, and it was good. You're right. We had a long relationship, and good man, and I'm glad I included him in that book.
Yeah, definitely. All right, sorry, Goze, were you done?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Zach, these are 6 years apart, if I'm not mistaken. We've asked Stitch. He's kind of smirking, but this can go on forever as long as Stitch is involved in combat sports. This won't be the last edition. That's how I'm seeing it.
That's very possible. Because the thing about Stitch is he's everywhere. He has so many life experiences. So, a few years down the road, I'm sure we could fill another book, and I'd be happy to do so.
Is it fun, guys, or stressful, or more one than the other? Like when we say it, we make it sound like, oh yeah, it's fun to read. More. But on your end, how tasking is this?
No, it's not at all. It actually was fun, and Zach really works with me very well because there was a lot of additions and deletions that we made in prepping it up the way we wanted it to be written, and so it's never been a problem, And Zach has just been tremendous and has really done everything. Really for what I wanted to do, but I use his expertise to make sure that what I wanted fell within the realms of it being some good reading.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Zach?
Well, it's a lot of work, of course, and it takes time. But no, stress is definitely not stressful. And it could be, depending on who I was working with, probably. But with Stitch, there's never been any stress, and we work so well together, bouncing ideas off of each other, and through our talks and stuff. So there's never been really any stress. Sometimes it's like, man, we still got a long road ahead of us, but it's mostly fun work. We're creating something. We're creating something that's going to be meaningful for people, and people are going to read this book, and it's going to resonate with them in some way. And I think that makes, I think, myself at least feel great, and I think it does with Stitch as well.
Zach Robinson, co-author of From the Fields to the Garden 2, joining us live from Germany. All right, guys, is there anything that, you had a certain title for the book and Zach talked you out of it? Was there a story maybe you wanted to include that Zach talked you out, or was there anything vice versa that Zach thought, give us a blooper behind the scenes that maybe didn't make the book, or a conversation, anything, any funny anecdote?
There was one, actually the chapter called The Middleman, that I wanted to call it Angel Mengele, the Angel of Death, but Zach thought it was a little too hard, so we kind of toned it down a little bit. But the reading is still good in that, and so Zach kind of
So of the two, you're the more edgy guy. Stitch, you're kind of pushing the limits, and he keeps you in check.
Yeah, with some of the things that had happened to me on my release from the UFC, I definitely wanted to put something in there, but. Like when I did the interview that got me fired, I was politically correct, and did the right things, but it created a whole lot of drama within the fans and went viral. Well, this one here, maybe I did want to get a little bit hard, but I toned it down some. But I think we got the word out.
Is he being generous, Zach? Or did you really have to rein him in?
No, not too much. I mean, he's pretty much right on. There were a couple of times it was like, well, maybe we need to consider this, be a little bit more politically correct, or do we really want to include that? But for the most part, not too much. Yeah. So and Stitch, we didn't want him. It doesn't come off as Stitch complaining and saying, "Oh, it's not fair" and all that stuff. That whole deal. I mean, of course, it's a big part of his life.
And I think I did that. Yeah,
was it therapeutic for you?
Yeah, no, absolutely it was. Yeah, it is. To sit down and write it and have Zach check it and correct it and get the finished product. I'm real pleased with it.
Did you ever have one of the not to take your man card away or anything in front of a live audience, but did you ever have a time where you hung up and maybe shed a tear or just had an emotion?
Well,
the Witsimata story, and I'm glad that Zach brought that one up, because for those that don't know, Witsimata was one of the cutmen in the UFC with us, and I've known him for many, many, many years when he was with Strikeforce, even before in boxing. But he passed away during the same time that Muhammad Ali and what's the fighter name that passed away from New York or from Florida? When they all passed.
Josh Saman? No.
Kimbo Slice.
Kimbo Slice. Yeah. They all passed within that same week, and I guess honoring him the way we did, because we never got to say goodbye to him. I did it at least in the book, so that was pretty heartfelt for me.
Yeah.
Do you ever go back and read any of it? Maybe the first book, or just, is it on your nightstand at all?
No, this one here, I've read it like 15 times, and the thing about it, I have a new system on my emails, and if I delete one of the old messages, they all got deleted. So, I've had Zach send me the PDF file, 4 or 5, 6 times, right, Zach? And so I don't
like that.
I don't know how to save it and just.
So he probably learned the term, como chinga.
Yeah, como chinga, man.
Send it again?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I'll send it.
But he's so cool, man. It's just cool Zach Robinson. He just kind of works with me on that.
Well, I'll tell you what. We got a sneak peek of it, and we actually got to read a bit of it the first time on your phone as we were watching live boxing.
Yes.
That's how entertaining the book was, that we did not watch the boxing, and we just sat there looking at your phone reading the book.
Yeah, you did. You guys were
going down memory lane.
Yeah, Carla she did. I sent it to her. But you guys have done so much for Zach and I in helping us with the first book, and then to give me this piece of advertisement, and just help promote the book. I want to thank you guys because it's been instrumental. Now you have Zach and I here on the radio show promoting the book.
And you said it wasn't a. Yes. I mean, if the money comes in, great, you'll accept it. But that wasn't your main objective. But do you prefer Kindle, Amazon? Like, for me, I usually go through Amazon. But is there a preferred spot for a purchase to take place so our audience can go there and support, in any way they can?
Yeah, well, I think, the book is always the way to go, and Oscar Avila is the one that created the front and the back of the first book and the second book, and he did a tremendous job. But it's nice because when these guys buy the books, a lot of the junkies, I'm at an event and they have their book with them, and I get to sign it for them right now. And I've already gotten a request from friends from Austria and Ireland and now Germany, Michael Schmidt in Germany, that have received their books, and they want to send them to me so I can sign them and send them back. So in that aspect, it's nice to have that one-on-one with the fighter and then give them my signature for something that they bought.
Was that the one you were showing me that somebody had just opened there?
Yeah, he had just opened it.
That was in Germany?
Yeah, that was in Germany, yeah. Michael Schmidt.
That's hilarious, right?
Cool.
Yeah, it's crazy.
All right. Well, Zach, listen, man, is there anything that we left out that you want to cover in regards to the book or just the process of writing the book?
No, not that I can think of. I do think the best place to get it is Amazon. That's where 90% of the population gets their books.
You got Amazon Prime. You can have it on your doorstep in 2 days. Sorry to cut you off. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why, as we were shooting for December 1st, and we had the Kindle available for pre-order the week before, and the print book was available on December 2nd. And people sending me videos of them opening their books and pictures of them with their books.
Yeah, and then I also
they're getting them quick,
And Zach, I also received a message from Canada asking whether where they could get it, and I said Amazon, but I'm as dumb as a rock when it comes to all this stuff. But I guess Amazon delivers worldwide.
Yeah, well, they have the Amazon.ca for Canada. I mean, there's Amazon.de for Germany. Japan, Brazil. I mean, pretty much you name it.
They have an Amazon in the Amazon?
I'm through Amazon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Amazon's the only place they don't deliver, right?
Can you believe that? I'm in Manaus, Brazil. Yeah, I'm in the actual Amazon. You deliver? No, sorry,
Nah,
we
we
don't
don't
deliver
do
there. Nice. All right. Well, listen, man, this is great talking to you, Zach. Congratulations again on the book that you wrote with Stitch. Stitch has been happy as a clam talking about the process, even from when he announced to us early this summer that it was going to happen to when it was happening, and now upon its completion, he's stoked, and we love Stitch to death. So if he's happy, we're happy, but you were a major part of it.
Yeah, well, thank you, and I appreciate all that you guys have done. It's been wonderful, and all the support, and I'm glad you guys enjoy it.
Folks, go out there and pick up From the Fields to the Garden 2, Stitch Duran with Zach Robinson. This is the second edition, and you don't have to look far. You'll see the first one there. So if you haven't seen the first one, scoop them both up. You can have it definitely in time for Christmas. If you have Amazon Prime, you'll get it in a couple days. You won't put it down either. Thanks, Zach, for the time.
All right, thank you, guys.
All right, thank you, Zach.
We'll see you. What a great guy, huh?
Oh, a super guy, man. I tell you, we just kind of
such a chill guy. He's been to the studio.
Yeah.
Met him
No, he's a diehard fan, and I was just glad that I met him and that we kicked off as well as we did.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're friends. We stay in touch all the time, and outside of just writing the books.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a good man.
Yeah. All right, folks. We're going to take this break. It's our only break of the second hour. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about everything that's going down this weekend. UFC 206 in Toronto, Canada, and I'm clicking on the front story. I always got to refresh because the writers, man, we have an amazing writer team, and they're always putting stories up even as we're doing the show. The latest one that's caught my attention, it says Dana White, a little shocked Cowboy Cerrone didn't call before involvement with MMA Athletes Association. So here we go. I knew there was going to be some button other heads, and Cowboy and Tim Kennedy fight this weekend. So they kind of have to face the music out there with not only Dana but the new owners at WME and IMG, including, of course, the Ari Emanuel, who's one of the two big dogs out there. Whitesell. We said we got to figure out the other guy's name. I think it was Whitesell. He's the other one. I'm sure he'll probably be seeing them because that's a big show out there. All right. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Russian 83. We'll be right back after this break.
Get ready to be schooled by two guys who live in MMA detention. Here are your hosts, Gorgeous George and Goze.
So check this out, guys. So Dana White's now starting to comment a little bit on the MMAAA, which is the MMA Athletes Association, or it's also known as the MWA cubed, but whatever. That's a tough one to pronounce. I don't know why they picked up that acronym, the MMAAA or the MMAAA. But this is what he said. He said he isn't upset with the fighters who decided to get involved with the MMAAA, but he expected a heads up from at least one name involved. When talking to the UFC Unfiltered podcast, White alternated between trashing the association, especially for the involvement of advisor and former Bellator CEO Bjorn Rebney, and saying he understands fighters needing to do what they feel is right for their lives. However, White did expect that Cowboy Cerrone would have given him a heads up when he decided to get involved with the group. And the group, of course, just recently in late November announced its formation. His quote is, "At the end of the day, here's the reality. Fighters can go out and do whatever they want to do. They're all grown men. In life, you know how it is. We all have these paths to walk down. I'm a little shocked that Cowboy Cerrone didn't give me a call. Let me tell you this, too. First of all, he's only headlined like 3 fight nights in his career. Never held a title in the WEC. Never held a title in the UFC. And a couple years ago, he was on his boat, gets into a beef with a guy on another boat. He's in trouble. Who does he call? He calls me. What do? I go out and find him the best criminal defense lawyer, and I spent over $100,000 of my own money. When I see Cowboy standing up there, it's like, all right, really? Okay."
I was a little shocked, too, that I had thought that maybe they did have a conversation before, because you have seen throughout the years that they seemed a little bit tighter. But, I mean, to quote someone else, baby, I didn't know we were friends, right?
Man, you took the words right out of my mouth, brother.
I mean, that's kind of what it seems like on Cowboy's part. But this is the one thing that I don't like about, and in a way you kind of praise Dana for coming out and speaking about it, because that's what people want. But then he says kind of things like where he's disparaging Cowboy's record and the fact that he hasn't won a title. That's just not necessary. You could still make your point without having to do that. And I think that's the thing that sours a lot of people, sours a lot of fighters, is that avenue of attack. But I don't know, man. It's just it's a weird situation. If I'm Cowboy's manager, though, I don't want to have that talk with Dana White before the fight. I say, you know what? You can talk to my guy, but talk after the fight.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, you're right. He's definitely got
same thing with Tim.
A tough opponent in Matt Brown. Matt Brown's not messing around. That guy's as serious as it gets. Tim Kennedy has Kelvin Gastelum, and I thought Tim Kennedy was going to be a bigger favorite.
Yeah.
He is a middleweight. Kelvin Gastelum's a welterweight who struggles with making welterweight, so he's going to be fighting as a middleweight. And everything he's gone through, I just didn't know if he cleared his mind of all of it and got ready, while as Tim Kennedy's been getting ready for a former light heavyweight champion in Rashad Evans, who was dipping down for the first time to do a middleweight fight. Of course, you know that didn't happen, and so that's why Kelvin Gastelum stepped in. But how about that, man? That's kind of like, shots fired a little bit, and it won't be the last.
Let the games begin, right?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I knew it it was ballsy, because 4 of the fighters have fights coming up just in December alone. 2 of them have that possible shot to a world title. If Dillashaw can get past John Lineker and Cain Velasquez can get past Fabricio Verdum, they're going to be hoping they get a title shot. But who ultimately decides who gets title shots? Dana White. He may go, well, kind of feeling Junior Dos Santos and Stipe Miocic, and as far as Cruz and Cody Garbrandt, if they have a close fight, who knows if they run it back. Or maybe there's somebody else that comes through the ranks. I sure was impressed with Almeida last month. You just never know. So I do applaud the courage of those guys to step up, because, Zuffa in the past and now WME IMG, they've kind of given us some early inclinations that they don't play around either.
Well, and that's maybe why it's important to have the Muhammad Ali Reform Act bill.
Yeah.
At least to give them a base and give them something to work with. So, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And as this game is getting bigger and bigger and they want to put it in the mainstream, and it is in the mainstream, then they have to do what the big boys do. And that's take care of the fighters.
You mentioned 50-50 splits. I've seen that. I'm pretty sure that's what, it may be 53-47, 52-48, but we know that it's in that region. But in boxing, it can be 80-20 in favor of the athlete. Yeah, so I don't know if combat sports, or sorry, MMA would ever, get to those types of levels, but I know Floyd Mayweather's been very successful with being his own promoter and just doing his thing, getting away from the sanctioning bodies.
Yeah, he's done a great job, and that's a blueprint that fighters really should look at, because it works for Floyd, and I mean he even gets concessions and everything, so it's the way it should be.
His image is plastered on a hotel here in Las Vegas. I mean, how crazy is that?
He's doing the right thing.
Who, Floyd?
Yeah, remember when Floyd's face was on the MGM for the longest time, on the back part of it? Home of Mayweather, right? I think is what it used to say.
Yeah, that's something else, man. All right, so we'll definitely be keeping an eye on that. And I keep saying UFC 206, but we do have that fight night, UFC 102, Fight Night 102, with Derek Lewis in the headliner bout. I want to give some love to our buddy Ben Folks. Him and Chad Dundas have released episode 234 of the co-main event podcast, and also a recent addition to UFC 207. It'll be Jessica Andrade, who many thought might be next for Joanna Jędrzejczyk. She'll be fighting Marina Moraes at the end of the year UFC 207 card. So I think that leads us to believe Joanna may take a few months off, or is this one just want to keep busy and fight? Because
she's the clear number one, right?
I believe so.
So then Joanna had to have asked for time off, which she deserves, I think.
Yeah, that was a battle with Karolina Kowalkiewicz. The other theory I have is maybe they are going to run back Kowalkiewicz and Joanna in Poland, or
I hope not.
I don't think she deserved it. She did have the champion in trouble, but so did Tim Elliott, and I don't think they're going to run back Tim Elliott versus Demetrius Johnson. So I think you just kind of move on, and she's a quality bantamweight who dropped to strawweight and has been a great strawweight.
And if she loses that fight, now what? You have someone in the same division with 2 losses to the champion so early. It probably wouldn't be a smart move by them. Yeah, I think you have to build up to that.
Bellator 169, their lineup is set for the card out in Dublin, Ireland, and the headline bout there is Satoshi Ishii versus Muhammad Lawal. That takes place on December 16th. You going to Dublin for that one, or they have the European team?
No, actually, I'm working with Joe Smith that's fighting Bernard Hopkins for Bernard Hopkins' retirement fight. 51 years old. So I'll be in Los Angeles there. I'm also, and it worked out great because my sponsors, the 86ers, are doing what Shango was doing, is they're going to be taking care of the homeless in the morning from like 8 to 12, giving them haircuts and food and clothing and all that. So I'll be double dipping on that.
Oh, very cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
so
right.
I'm excited about that.
All right, Goze, are we ready to
Yeah, we can do that right now.
get back to what we were going to do earlier? So maybe you can take the reins here. Which route are we going?
Come on down, James.
All right, James.
And
time to get your hand wrapped.
I asked Stitch Duran this morning if it would be okay if we could wrap one of these gentlemen's hands. And Stitch, being the nice guy that he is, he said, hell, I'll wrap them both.
So you're
getting a hand wrap as well.
Yeah. And that way they can punch each other and see how it feels like.
That's going to be the main event of the of today's show.
Yeah. James, what's your rank? What's your
civilian?
Civilian. I'm sorry. Okay. All right. Well, I have to be careful. I don't want a captain and a major, be promoting that stuff. But all right. So Stitch is gonna wrap James's hand, and I'm telling you, man, this is really, really cool.
So can you, I guess,
Stitch,
turn the chair? That way we can get
if
them
he turned his chair to you,
it's all right.
Do you like standing or sitting, Stitch?
I can stand on this one. That's no problem.
All right.
Yeah, so let's get him a little bit. That way we can have him more on the camera here.
So then we'll have him sit like this. Straddle it like the Fonz on Happy Days, when he sits down at the cafe.
Yeah, like you're a bad man.
Can you do that? Or I don't want you to rip your Dockers. All right. Goze, what do you think about this MMA AA news, with
every day?
If you would have thought somebody was cool with somebody, it was Cowboy and Dana.
You would think so, right? He's got this kind of not like a little clique, but just a group of guys that have been there for a long time that have kind of bailed the UFC out in situations where they needed help. He was a go-to guy. So for me, it's kind of odd, man. I really thought that they had a conversation before that because they seemed close to me in the past, but it's shocking that they hadn't. And that just goes to show like the level of frustration, right, amongst fighters.
What of that story with Cowboy in the boat? I mean, that doesn't sound like a shocker, right?
Not really. Well,
he ain't really putting up with anybody, and if somebody's not putting up with him and something goes down, I definitely don't want to be the other guy.
It is a bit of a shocker, and I'll tell you why. Because he had that incident, remember, at Whole Foods, where he was punched in the face, and he was able to walk away.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So, I don't know which happened first or what, but I kind of thought maybe he just learned that that's the thing you got to do when you're a pro fighter. I wouldn't be able to do something like that.
Do you remember this when we asked Cowboy Cerrone was in our studio once, and we asked him for a street fight story, and he said, I think it was either a Broncos football game or it was some sort of a setting where there was, everybody exiting to a parking lot, and he was having trouble getting his car out. He had some words for somebody. And when they got out of the car, didn't the guy reveal a big blade or something like that?
I think so, yeah.
And then Cowboy thought to himself, all right, I'm going to give this one to you, and got back in the car. So he's shown restraint there. Mm-hmm. He's shown restraint at Whole Foods. But I remember he also said that guy was lucky Leonard Garcia wasn't with me because Leonard doesn't care if there's a knife present or not. It would have been on, And so, again, going back to Cowboy does seem to have a cool head at times, and I guess maybe this time he didn't, but $100,000 in lawyer fees.
It's a lot,
like you almost want to know
and
more about that
his
story.
Own personal money.
Yeah.
Now, question is, did it really go down like that? I don't know. If you talk to Cowboy Cerrone, he's going to say, well, it's a little different. Mm-hmm. But that's just what we know, guys.
Mm-hmm. Derek Lewis will be a UFC Fight Pass card, that UFC 102 card, Fight Night 102. And it's on December 9th, which is the day before UFC 206. Derek Lewis will be fighting Shamil Abdurakhimov, who is 17-3 to Lewis is 16-4. Couple heavyweights in the co-main event as well. Anthony Hamilton, 15-5 versus Francis Ngannou. In the featured bout, it's Corey Anderson, 8-2 versus Sean O'Connell, good friend of the show. And in the opening bout at UFC Fight Night 102 on the main card, of course they're all on UFC Fight Pass, but technically they separate main card and prelims. You'll have John Vellante versus Saperbek Safarov, who's undefeated at 6-0. Other familiar names are Ashley Yoder, Brian Camosi doing a quick turnaround as well. Andrew Sanchez is on that fight card. Frankie Perez is on that fight card. And so is Juliana Lima. All right, let's check in here with James. How's that feeling, James?
Man, it feels awesome.
You want me to call Deontay Wilder or Vladimir Klitschko? You ready for them yet or no?
I've got to fight somebody before I leave. I don't care who it is.
All right. Yeah. You notice I didn't say Triple G or anything. I automatically made you a heavyweight. Sorry for assuming.
I was thinking the same thing. I said, man, made him a heavyweight. Just keep it close. Just keep it close here.
All right.
So was that the knockout rap, Stitch, or is that the submission rap?
Yeah, no, we're giving him the knockout rap. I figure we're going to go all the way. I might just be his agent in the future.
There you go.
Take care of him right now, man, so he can take care of me later.
I'm good for one second round, so I want to bell the ring.
Oh, you don't have much cardio?
Yeah. And the rap job is being done with Stitch's personal rapping. That's the Stitch Premium tape, right?
Yes, exactly.
Where can you get that?
The rap job. Thanks, man.
The way you want.
The hand job. Actually, you know what, right now? It's water resistant. So
Hey, Stitch, I'm going to ask you a question, and, I don't mean to start shit or nothing, but to me, I've been watching, is this sport outgrowing the support staff? And by that, I mean, I'm hearing of events where there's only one cutman present at an MMA event, or there are cutmen that just aren't doing a great job. So the cutman industry, are there enough good ones out there to handle all these shows all over the world?
That's a good question. There's close it. There's, I'm the honorary president of the International Cutman Association based out of Italy, and a lot of the guys there are really good. But we were talking about it the other day. For a promoter to have one cutman and 3 ring girls, to me, it just on the business side of taking care of the fighters doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
And so these promoters that are out there invest in a good cutman because we got to take care of these fighters, and for this game to grow, that's how we have to do it.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. Yeah, sometimes we'll see like 8 ring girls or whatever.
Yeah, no.
And
there's got to be a fine balance because I'm okay with 3 ring girls.
Yeah, but a lot of them will do it for free too.
That's true.
How's it feeling, James?
Oh man, is this what fighters all go through?
Every one of them, man.
Everyone.
Well, here's the thing, James. Here's the thing. There's no backing down at this point. Once you get your hand wrapped, if you were gonna chicken out, you probably wouldn't have shown up to the arena. But once you're in the arena and Stitch is going through all this,
and
you got your corner.
There's no turning back now.
Yeah, you got your corner. They've already, they're getting you hyped up. If you think about it, this is one of the last steps there that lets you know, this is it. This is my time. Or who knows? Maybe you do get a Alaska rush of courage as well.
Well, a lot of fighters have said that this is the moment, right? This is where the game face clicks on.
That's what Frank Mir said it best. He goes, when I see Stitch walking into the dressing room, my stomach just drops because I know it's time to fight.
Mm-hmm.
There's no turning back at that point, and and it's important at this point to take care of these fighters because I know that they're going through a lot of mental stress, right? And for me to go over there and talk to them and just kind of relax them, that's a specialty, and close it. How's that feel, brother?
Feels great.
All right, show the people, man.
There you have.
My man.
Civilian James.
Yeah.
All right, look at this
Get a picture there.
There you have it, folks. All right, and now we're going to bring in the major Kevin Whitlatch. He's going to get his hand wrapped.
I've done guys in suits before. Rory McDonald, actually, he always leaves his suit on.
Yeah.
I'll wrap his hands and then he'll take him off. And Kukui, those 2 guys.
Man, that's James Bond stuff, right?
That's James Bond stuff. Now I got the major here.
All right, here we go. He's going to be fist bumping everybody, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, I feel you. Boom.
There we go.
Very cool.
Going solid all the way.
Really
Keep it open.
Stitch, you can attest. There's a lot of guys that actually do last for the sub wrap, submission wrap. What do you call that one?
The tap out
wrap. Because they've accepted that they don't have knockout power and they're better on the ground,
right.
And so they want a little bit more dexterity. I think some guys have gone so far as to say no wrap at all, right, Stitch? Eddie Wineland.
Yeah,
Oh,
actually,
wow.
yeah. And you're talking about Ben. Ben's here. Ben puts a little bit. Just keep it open, wide open. There we go. Ben, he puts very little wrap on his hands. And Darian Caldwell, we were talking about that on I wrapped his hands for the first time over the weekend, right, at Bellator.
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted the thumb off, and I asked him why. And obviously he's a grappler, but his left hand, he had broken it before, so I convinced him to leave the thumb on. He went out there and won the fight, and I think from now on he'll have his hands wrapped with his thumb.
Oh, how about that?
So.
Okay.
And even the fighters that want a very limited wrap, they have to have something, right? You have to put something on.
Yeah, but just for the sake that we did what we could to prevent any injuries, how you want it wrapped, and that's custom made for you, then that's a different story. But we got to start off with at least wrapping your hands.
Very cool. All right. I also want to let you know that it's official as far as UFC 206. Let me tell you how that card's going to break down. We know all the matchups, but where they're placed, sometimes that remains a mystery till the very end. On the prelims, at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, the UFC Fight Pass portion of the card is the following. Check out this first bout. Just the first bout alone goes is Zach Makowski versus Dustin Ortiz. They're both ranked flyweights.
It's an underrated fight. I'm telling you, that's going to be a really fun
that's
fight.
A real
Those guys
good
are going
one.
to be everywhere all
and
over
after
the cage.
this season of The Ultimate Fighter and that brawl between Benavidez and Cejudo, I think the flyweights are really, really coming along. This is their coming out month, we'll say, not year, but month, because November, December has been huge. Rustam Kabalov fights Jason Sago, a recent guest of MMA Junkie Radio. John McDessie, another recent guest of MMA Junkie Radio. He fights Groovy Lando Venata. Now moving on to the prelims, Mitch Gagnon, another recent guest of MMA Junkie Radio, will be fighting Matthew Lopez. Viviane Pereira will be fighting Valerie Letourneau. Olivier Aubin Mercier will fight Drew Dober. And then the featured bout on the prelims on Fox Sports 1, which starts at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, is Misha Serknikov versus Nikita Koloff. Oh, from the WWE?
Yeah.
Oh, Nikita Krylov, sorry. All right. The first fight of the main card is Emil Meek versus Jordan Mean. That's right, Mean's back. He retired a few years ago. He's back. He's doing his thing, and he's actually on the main card portion of this fight card. Then we move to Kelvin Gastelum versus Tim Kennedy. Dooho Choi versus Cub Swanson.
That'll be fight of the night.
Cub Swanson is an underdog, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The lines on this whole card are kind of weird. Like Tim Kennedy isn't that big of a favorite.
Yeah, I hear you. Matt Brown versus Donald Cerrone in the co-main. Max Holloway versus Anthony Pettis for the interim featherweight title. That's your main event. It's a pay-per-view, so the start time is 10 p.m. Eastern time. For those of you that are wanting to get together, if you're going to Toronto, after the ceremonial weigh-ins, you're looking for something to do, our man Proteus from another MMA podcast is hosting, or maybe one of the leaders, I should say, a fight party at Boston's. Did he say Boston's Pizza? What do you call it?
Boston's Pizza, yes.
Boston's Pizza in Toronto. You been there before?
No.
Okay.
No. But it's easy to remember.
Yeah, that's right. On Front Street. And he's invited any MMA Junkie Radio listeners to come on out and hang out. 7:30 p.m. Eastern start time for UFC 102. You guys can catch the fights there, shoot the shit, meet another junkie, and, of course, preview UFC 206. So the ceremonial weigh-ins for UFC 206 take place that day, and, of course, they fight the next night. But everybody keeps forgetting there is a UFC Fight Night 102 card headlined by Derek Lewis. All right, Major, how's that feeling so far?
Feels great. I feel like I'm ready to do some damage.
Yeah?
James.
In the submission game or the power game, James. So
hey, look at James' stances already, man.
James a grappler or what, but I'm looking to stay on my feet.
There we go, yeah.
James is hitting mitts over there in the prep point. He's
yeah. He's in the mix, man.
Yeah. So I've always told people, Major, I've always told people that what I felt was that a brick was attached to my hand by the time Stitch is done.
Yeah, this is unbelievable. Like I knew a lot of effort went into this, but this is.
And so now throw on
anything
from an 8 to 10 ounce glove in boxing
Yeah.
or an MMA, a 4 ounce glove.
Yeah.
And you can see why the damage, why those guys cause a lot of damage when they hit each other.
No question. I imagine it would get very tiresome to keep your hands even up in your defense at some point with this.
Yeah. Stitch, do you know how much tape do you use? So like about
usually one roll per hand.
6-7 feet or something like that? Or at the end of the day, how much do you think you've wrapped a hand?
Oh, God. Well, it's one roll, which man, don't ask me those kind of questions. I don't have an answer.
One roll
one roll gauze and one roll tape. This is for MMA. And boxing, we'll use 2 rolls of gauze because the padding is a lot thicker. And so open. So, but I think it's like 6-7 feet of tape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what one roll is. And I should know, right?
How much does Panama Lewis use in boxing?
Yeah.
I think he uses a little bit more, doesn't he?
Yeah, he kind of cheats the system a little bit.
Is there a number, Stitch? I know you probably hate answering this question, but how many raps do you think you've done in your life?
Oh, God, I don't know.
Just give us a ballpark.
They've been in the thousands.
10,000?
Yeah. I don't know. I know there's been a whole bunch. So, and somebody asked me if I could do it with my eyes closed, and I did, because actually when we went with when Tim Kennedy fought at the Marine base, the Army base, the lights went out in
Kentucky.
Yeah, in Kentucky, the lights went out in the trailers, and I continued rapping with the lights out.
Oh, really?
So that could be done.
Damn.
Yeah, it's crazy, huh?
Mm-hmm. Did you guys know? I don't know if I mentioned this to
put
you.
my gloves on with no lights.
I don't know if I mentioned this to you guys, but did you guys know that the 4-star general that we met in Afghanistan, his name's
big time,
Joseph Dunford, right? I believe his name was.
Oh, yeah.
He was actually, after we left, promoted to President Obama's staff. So I'm not sure exactly what his new job entailed, but I mean, he's definitely a big dog. And I found my picture the other day of me with the general.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Oh, it was a great day for us.
How's that, Major?
Oh my goodness, feels like $1 million, Stitch. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
That day that day General Dunford was there to oversee the base was changing
Nice.
from one star general to the
Thank you,
other,
Stitch.
so they kind of go through a ceremony. So he was there, and
Oh, yeah.
it was
Okay.
real cool. I was like, hey, I've met a 4-star general.
No, that's a unique honor. Those are the guys that are ultimately at the top of the pyramid, well deserved, and are
Very
in
nice
charge
guy,
of a lot
too.
of strategic outlook stuff in the way of national defense and what we're trying to do. So
Yeah.
that is an honor.
And then the security, you saw literally guys, security up on the rooftops and all that. But tell them what we did after we ate.
Which one?
Well, when we went to go meet him, all these other people were in line.
So get this. So they had the ceremony, right?
Right.
And there wasn't many people invited, but they invited us to go. And so we're standing off, and they had some lunch spread there for us. So we're off to the side just eating, and all of a sudden you see captains and majors and colonels kind of getting in line because they wanted to meet the general,
Right.
and also take a picture. Excuse me.
A lot of
Yeah, a
diplomats.
lot of diplomats.
Okay.
So we're standing, so they're doing that, and of course we wanted to too, but we said, well, we'll tail off at the end. All of a sudden, our liaison comes up to us and says, the general would like to meet you. And we said, yes, we want to meet him too, but we're kind of eating. We didn't say that we're kind of eating here, but we figured, we're in.
Wait.
We're in,
Right.
I had a roast beef sandwich in my mouth as that
He
started.
wants to meet you now. And of course, we wanted to, but we thought that's kind of be kind of awkward to kind of cut the line. And not that they made us do it. We wanted to do it, but that's exactly what we did.
Yeah.
And you felt like we got a couple looks, or
We did. I saw him.
like, what's going on here,
Well,
And so we kind of cut to the front of the line to meet the 4-star general, and he goes, there they are. And I mean, he was really, really nice. And my sons love fight, MMA.
That's awesome.
And so we talked individually. We had pictures, a group picture. But boy, and I was a little crimson red, just the embarrassment of cutting that line.
Well, I'll tell you what. I can assure you, as
But that's how well they treated us.
someone who's been a captain and a major before, I'm in no hurry to get to the front of the line to meet a 4-star general.
Yeah.
It's like usually it's not good. Oh, general wants to see you.
I see.
It's like, all right.
Right.
The one thing that stood out to me was the 1-star general that we talked to, because we were asking him like, "Hey, this is 4 stars. It's a big deal, right?" And he goes, "I don't even get to talk to this."
Right.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
pretty
remember
big,
that
yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, Major, we will see you. Well, thank you. First of all,
Yeah,
well,
no,
great meeting you
thank
both.
you for having us. This
And
is
we'll be seeing you in a
certainly
few
an
weeks,
honor.
days.
Couple days, yeah.
Yeah,
See you back at
Langley
on the East
Eustis
Coast.
Space.
Yes, sir.
Right. So
Safe
thank you
travels.
very much for your appearance.
Thank you.
And folks, tomorrow. Also thank you to Zach Robinson and Stitch Duran, of course, for co-hosting. Tomorrow we'll be joined by UFC heavyweight Stipe Miocic. Also, comedian Joey Diaz will stop by and give us his predictions for UFC 206. So it definitely should be a fun show. May have a couple other surprises. So for Stitch, Major Whitlatch, James the Civilian. I don't know your last name, sir, but we've just been calling him James. Goze, and Danny Beckis, who hasn't said a peep, but he does a great job. I'm George.
Peep.
Have yourselves a nice day. Go out there and be champions.
Never be the same again.